Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Jeff Rutter here. Welcome back to
Thanks for
Kansas
having
City.
me.
Do you guys have a condo out here or something? It seems like every time I come back, you're here.
It's my 21st trip out here.
Is it really?
As a head coach
Oh,
and
that's
assistant.
fantastic.
Yeah, so we've got our favorite restaurants and routine.
Yeah,
and things
you know the routine pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations first on
Appreciate
a great
it.
season. Let's go back to the conference tournament. You and I were just talking about it. You went over to the Masters. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had a real battle with the Masters this season. Now, Hope was trying to sneak in there. They had a really good team. It came down really the battle between you and the Masters. You played them in that tournament. You had to go to the Masters. Yep. And Lorenzo Wright hit a 3 to win that game. Just talk about that game.
Yeah, it was a great game. Masters had a long win streak going into that game.
32 games
32 games, yeah. They're tough to beat there. Similar to the year before, we split with Masters and then beat him by a point maybe in the conference tournament championship. So very similar, very even teams. Always a great game when we play them. So the interesting thing with that last game, Lorenzo hit a 3 to take the lead with 5 seconds left, and it was about a second before the shot clock went off. But we didn't have review as part of our conference tournament.
Okay.
So it got waved off, and it should have counted.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
yes.
he actually hit 2 game winners within 5 seconds of game time.
That's right. I forgot about that.
It was crazy. So just very, very fortunate, lucky, right? Ball bounced.
Well, the final shot was really super improbable.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's Lorenzo. Like last time I saw you, he did that up at Oregon Tech.
Well,
Southern Oregon.
I wanted to bring that up. You played Southern Oregon, who's out here, by the way. They made it. They actually beat the Masters and Montana Tech. But you were down. You and I talked about it again last night. I was covering that game. You were down by, I think, 7 with 30 seconds to go. And I liked your line. And Southern Oregon never crossed half court again.
Yeah, things just kind of fell into place. And the guys turned up the defense, and Lorenzo was left open and hit a big one. That's what he does.
He hit the 3, sent it to overtime, and you guys kind of dominated the overtime. Yeah. Now, you never really gave up the lead in the overtime.
Yeah, kind of pulled away a little bit.
It kind of seemed like you had it from there. But it was a great season for you. Talk about the GSAC this year. It's switched a lot. There's been a lot of California teams switching around.
Yeah,
just a lot of movement in that area. How many? You're down to 7 teams in the GSAC?
8.
Okay.
8. And I believe we're moving to 9 next year, adding La Sierra. I think it goes to 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just talk about the conference this year.
Yeah, I mean us and Masters and Hope had been the 3 top teams the last several years. Yeah. So the top of the conference, there's continuity with that. You miss, our depth was really, really good in the past few years, where our 6th or 7th team were national tournament quality teams.
Yeah.
So I think it was, there's some transition this year. I think it's, like in Emory Riddle came on really strong at the end.
They did, yeah.
And they got majority of those guys are freshmen, right? And Ottawa's going to get Coach Ocean does a good job and kind of got the job late. Didn't have a lot of time to recruit with the transition. So there was some transition that probably the middle of our league was a little weaker this year than it had been in past years.
That's true.
But I expect it to jump up here pretty quickly.
You raised a really good point about Emory Riddle. It's a program that really has struggled through the years. And they won some big games this year.
Yeah, they played great.
Yeah, and they're young.
Yeah, very young.
That little point guard, he's a freshman. He hit a couple game winners. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
expect the league to be up next year. I think it'll take a good jump next year.
Yeah. UAZ isn't going to stay down. That.
No. He just needed time to recruit, and he didn't have that time.
So it's a smaller conference. You and I talked about this in Klamath Falls when we met. But you play a lot of non-conference games. Obviously, you really got to play some powerhouses early in the season. Is the smaller conference a benefit, or is it a negative for your program?
I like it. I think we've got a good amount of conference games, so we can go out and play some teams. Good experience for our guys. Get to travel a little bit and do some of that. Yeah. See different styles. See different teams from different regions. So I like it. I know some of my peers that have 24 non-conference games. They have very limited options to go do some things outside of conference. So
that's true.
Yeah.
But you got some resources and you can do that. So I don't remember all the teams, but you basically traveled the country taking on all comers early in the year.
By Thanksgiving, we had wins in 5 different states.
Yeah, and probably 20,000 air miles.
Yes, we did get a lot.
So, going back and looking at that, how much does that experience equate that the guys coming out here to Kansas City and having to play nothing but tough competition? They've seen tough competition all season.
Yeah. We'll be battle tested. You know, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, but we won't be scared. We'll be battle tested. We've seen a lot of different styles, and you know, from the Faulkners and Freed Hardmans in Florida to the, you know, Montana schools and Oregon Tech and Southern Oregon, and so I think it prepares you. We want to play a tough schedule. We want to play good teams.
You talked about your game here, University of the Cumberlands, kind of getting to be a school that year in and year out is there. Matt Daniel has done a really, really good job. We just met with him this morning.
Yeah.
They struggled a little bit in December, but they've really been on a roll. They're playing really good basketball right now. Yeah,
I got a lot of respect for the Mid-South Conference, so we've been running into them for years. If you win the Mid-South, you're really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of respect for them.
Yeah. So when do you play? You play
Thursday, opening the first game, 1:00 Thursday.
Oh, okay. Now that came up last night when we were talking to some people. So how do you feel? Is that a plus or a minus?
It is if you win. And if you lose, you feel like you weren't here very
well. If you win, if you lose, you're one of the first one packing the bus, right?
Yeah.
But if you got a good point there. If you win, you get a long time to prepare.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Go out and take whatever time they give you and play as best you can and see what happens. But
I want to ask you a little bit more about your team, but I want to go back to your visits to Kansas City. For you personally, how much of an advantage is it that you've been here so many times to get your teams ready? You know the routines.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, I don't know how much of an advantage it is, but there's a comfort level. But, there's many other coaches here that have been here probably that many times or close to it. So, so just a comfort level, knowing, practice and meals and how everything works and all that is, certainly a routine that we've established over the years.
One thing we talked about just when you sat down is the balance that you have with the team. You got a lot of really athletic guys. You got Eric Nicholas out of Antelope Valley when they closed up. You got Anthony Howell. He's just big, strong.
Yep.
S.A. Onakpomo, one of the most athletic guys in the country. Lorenzo Wright, who's proven he can hit the big shot. But you're really balanced. You don't really rely on that one or two guys to get you there.
Yeah, it's been a challenging year, but fun year. Like we had Trent Hudgens to start the year, and the ball was in his hands a lot, and he's a very good player. But mid-December, he went out with an injury. He's trying to get back. We'll see if it happens or not. But we had to kind of learn how. We kind of changed our offense and just had to learn to play without him and do some things differently because he was such a big part of it. So he was leading us in assists and lots of areas shot. And obviously scoring, great defender. So it changed things. So we went on about a 6-week changing our offense because what we were running then wouldn't work as well without Trent. So that's, I've never had to do that in a season before. So that was a fun challenge, and we're starting to click a little bit on offense, a little more than we were maybe in early January.
When he went out, it really changed your offensive look because he's one of the best downhill guys in the country.
Yeah, it did. And the first week without him, we had 4 games in 6 days against Montana Tech, Providence, Morningside, Concordia, Nebraska. So he picked a bad week to get get his injury. But so we won 3 of 4 of those games, but we've been winning it with defense, and guys have really bought into playing hard. And, playing together. So
how do you feel about your team coming into the tournament?
Everybody here is really good. I think we're prepared. I think we're excited. We'll compete. So we'll see.
Well, Jeff, I really appreciate you giving me a few minutes and sitting down with us. And just lost the guy who's going to have to turn the camera off. But thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.